What's up YouTube, it's 24/7, just a quick tutorial on how to make a trap beat used by the likes of Jeezy, Rick Ross, Gucci Mane's probably one of the first people that pioneered that sound. A lot of his beats sound like this, but this is what I made last week. That's a little preview of the beat. Jumping over to Ableton. Up top is just an arrangement. I like to arrange out, so I just highlight, insert MIDI, and I think it's Apple R the shortcut, yeah. And just type in basically whatever you want. And I just like to arrange out how my track's gonna go. Excuse me. As you're going. First thing first, drums are really important in this genre, so first off we'll listen to the kicks. And a lot of people will say to make sure that you layer your kicks with your 808s. That's partially right, but if you listen to mine, I've got mine kind of offbeat and that gives it a better shuffle. With my kicks, I've EQ'd them so the kick and the 808 aren't hitting on top of each other. So if you see here, I've got this regular kick dips at 50 and it's boosted at 120. And then with the 808 kick, it's the opposite, boosted at 50, dips at 120. And if you listen to this kick here, on the spectrum it hits around 50, so you want to get a spectrum, make sure you're boosting the right part of it. Next is my claps, regular, just 4 claps. Nice and snappy. I think I've got 3 snares and 1 clap. And then on the fourth clap I have this. If you listen to the beat, you'll hear it. And that just gives it a little variation before it drops into that snare part right there. And this is just a regular clap. I think I found it in an 808 pack somewhere. Sounds just like that. But then when you add the reverb to it, and I think, yeah, it's a long tail reverb, the one that's built into Ableton, that's all I used. And then after that it drops into this part here, which is just snare. And the really important part with that is it has the snare roll at the end that you hear in a lot of trap beats. So if you listen, this is just the snare, goes into the roll, and then it drops back into the 808 kicks. Next up is the percussion. I've got a chant here, and then on top of the chants is you want your chants and your cymbals to go at the same time. So I've got this cymbal from Vengeance. If you listen to it, those hit at the same time, the chant and the cymbal. I have this sound that I think hits in between them somewhere. And I've also got, what is this? I've just got, yeah, a random sound I just do in there for variation. And then of course, as in every song, you have your hi-hats. And so my hi-hats they actually look better in this one. My hi-hats, if you see here, they just got a nice little shuffle to them. So if I play that, and you just want to find a basic pattern, like with me, I took it down to 30-second notes and I did 1 every 2, and then after that I just started adding in more and more, and I got something that sounded good. Then in this part here they slow down because it's got the chant coming in, and it's just the snare roll going, so you want to have a little variation in your track. So if I play them all at the same time, you'll hear it first, it's going much faster and there's no chance. Then in this part it slows down and it's got the chance and it's got a couple voices and other stuff added to it. And so that just gives your track a little bit of variation. Next up is the brass and your strings. You want to make sure you have a lot of different octaves taken up. So I've got a low octave here, then I've got a middle octave, and then a high octave. So if I add them all in, and that just basically it takes up a lot of room in the mix, so you can hear them high, middle, low, and so you can hear that coming through the mix and it stands out. Also I've got my strings. That's actually from a VST, they're not real strings. And with my strings I took some of, no, that's not the strings is over here. I've taken some of the low end out, some of the high end out. So you want everything to basically sit in different parts of the mix. If you listen to this, that's got 400 and up taken out, whereas in the lower stuff it's got the high stuff taken out. And then you want to layer your sounds like I've got an oboe here with my lowest trumpet. And then with my highest trumpet I've got the strings playing at the same time as it. And then if you listen carefully, let me just look in and see where I've done. Yeah, I've got triplets here. So with these, on the last one on the highest string, I've got the triplets playing, so it goes. Whereas in the lower one, it just plays straight. So there's a little bit of variation, but on top of each other, it makes it sound very nice. So basically you want basically a general pattern for everything, but with the higher stuff I like to add a little bit more shuffle to the track by changing stuff up. Also with my lower sounding stuff, I put utility on it and I bring the width down. If you look on the kicks you always want to have to be mono, so they're hitting you both at the same time. That gives you a lot of thump to your track. So I think it was my regular kick. It wasn't completely straight. So yeah, I've got a utility on it there. And if you listen and you look up here, you'll see that it's not completely straight. Alright, it goes a little bit to the right. Now let me just turn these snares off. Solo this out. When I add this utility back onto it now, it's hitting and the line's completely straight, so that's going to give you a better kick. So you want to do that with your kicks. I forgot to say that earlier, but I thought I'd just come back to it. Turn that back on, and then with my brass, with the low ones, I've put 25. With the kick it's got 0, you want it to be completely in the middle. Now with these you don't want it to be completely in the middle because it's not a kick, but it is a low sound, so I've just put that down to 25%. Next up, the melody, you kind of have to make it yourself, but you can add whatever. I've got like a distant piano. I think this was built in with Ableton here. And that just plays in between. I've got a high bell sound. And also I've got this, which is, I think it's a random arpeggiated sound. That comes in during the snare roll. And then also my favorite sound on this melody is this atmosphere. I'm going to turn it up to -15 so you guys can hear it. And that's just really subtle in the mix. You won't hear it when you're playing the song, but without it, it could sound a little empty. So it kind of just fills up any empty sounds that aren't none of the space is being taken up. Also, I've panned stuff, so This sound is just another random sound to fill up space. That's 10 to the right, this is 10 to the left. So if you have headphones on, you'll be able to hear one comes out more to the left, one comes out more to the right. So they're not sitting on top of each other, and you can have them both playing. You can have them playing louder because they're not going through the same headphones. So you can make your song louder by panning stuff to the left and the right. You want to do that more with your melody and higher sounding sounds than your lower sounding sounds. And that's basically the melody. On top of the melody, I've dragged out auto filtered 100 Hz because you don't want anything low. I've done a little boost here around 1K because that's where it really hits, and then I've taken out, where was it? I think it was 7K, yeah, because that's where the hi-hats were coming through, and the hi-hats were getting a little bit lost in the mix. So on top of the melody group, I've just put in that EQ, and then also a mix gel. And basically what your mix gel is going to do is it's just going to compress all those sounds together so they sound like they're better. Another thing to add is on my returns I have this reverb, and this is on more or less everything in my melody. If you see, it's on all of it, so they're all being pushed out to the same amount of space by the reverb, so that will help them sound like they're all in the same, basically they're in the same song, but it puts it all into the same mix so it sounds better in the song. And then lastly, I've got my effects, which are effects, basically whatever sounds good, but as you're coming into stuff like on the intro, which is here, I've got a sweep and I've got another effect. So I've got this sweep and effect that come in, and then also I've got this lightning kind of electricity sound, and these are all on the left, and then this goes from left to right, and then there's an impact that drops, and that drops on the right. So again, with the space on anything high, you want to have it panning left to right, so it starts off left, and then as it drops it hits you on the right, so it sounds like this. And that just, it gives it a wider feeling, it makes you feel like you're getting hit from both sides, so it definitely helps out a lot. You hear a lot of people use it and you'll be like, wow, it sounds really good. You won't know why. Just little stuff like that is what helps it out. Also on my effects, same thing, I've EQ'd out 7 kilohertz, and also you want to EQ out somewhere around where the snare's hitting. So for me it's 250, I've EQ'd that out so the snare comes through the mix a lot. And that's basically how I made my trap beat. If you have any questions, concerns, drop a comment in the comment box and I'll try and reply to them all as quickly as possible. If you like the beat and you want me to email it to you and you make music or whatever, my email's in the videos, in the description, so check that below. Also check out my fan page where I'll give a little sample pack away for this tutorial, probably of the drums, just to help you out because I know it's kind of hard to find the drums. My YouTube page, youtube.com/idj247 is where you can find my music. soundcloud.com/dj247, it's got a couple of my mixes on there, also some of my music. Make sure you check out my Cashing Out remix, that's going crazy right now. And then like I said, facebook.com/like247 is my like page. You can go there to get all the downloads, click there on downloads and it will have everything for you. Thanks and goodbye.